In today's After Effects demo, I want to run through a few things. I want to show you how to load footage, how to edit that footage, how to split the footage and pull sections out that you're not going to use, how to fade into another piece of footage, edit sound as well, and adjust the composition settings of the timeline, and finally to export. I'm going to select a piece of footage from the 2017 Canyon Fire. I'm going to drag that into here, bring up the settings. It's 1920 by 1080. The frame rate's 60, full resolution, and I go yes. There's my footage in the project panel. I'll drag it down into the timeline, and I notice that I have about a minute, about a minute and a half of footage here I want to play with. So I can play that, and I can hear the sound of the helicopter coming in. In the buffering process, it will appear to be going slower than it really will in the final piece. That's because the computer is having to buffer. So I'm going to stop and go to the part that I want to trim, and I remember this because I've used this before. And I'm going to get into these trees, and as they're going into the trees, there's a piece right about where it hits a residential structure, and I want to cut that out. So I'm going to come up into the editing mode. Within editing, there's an area called split layer. We'll split that layer. So there's the split layer. Then I'll move the footage out to the part I want to cut out, and it's going to sweep back in. So I'm going to split it again, split, and then a part I want to get rid of, I'm simply just going to hit the delete key and delete it. And I'll move that other section over, and I'm going to move the one that was first and move it up on top again. So now I'm getting the stair-stepping effect. That will help me. I want to fade this, so what I will do is I'll come in here to this layer, pick the pull down and go to transition, and then opacity. Under the opacity, once you hit it, it's going to set a time marker. I needed to set that time marker over here. I can move that little marker over. And these are adjustable, which is kind of nice. Then I will move that to where I want it to fade, to the end of that footage. Hit the little timing again, the opacity, and bring the opacity down to 0. Hit return key, and then I can collapse that so you can see it in its fullness. So what I'll get is a little fade in. And then you can see it coming into the other bit of footage. And I cut out part of that residential structure. And I'll stop. I'll move it again. And I can also extend, my markers throughout to see how my piece is going. I'll move this out to a part. There's another part of the structure again I want to cut out. Do the same thing again. I'll do it on this layer, bring down the little editing key, bring it down to splice. And this time I can actually go through the part of the footage that I want to cut out on that one. I'm back into the trees. I'll split it again. And there's that piece I want. I delete. And I move this one back up again. Keep moving the stair step. Go back to this one. Do the pull down. Do the same transition again. And make sure that my timeline key marker is where I want that. And I will do the setting again, 100%. Return. Move to the end of the footage. Hit the marker again and bring it down to 0. Return. Collapse the window again. And I can see where I had that little fade in. And it goes to the next scene. And I'm done with that one. And then I move the timeline again a little further, because there's another big chunk I want to get rid of as well. So I have another helicopter coming in. And then right about there, I can do a fade out. And what I'll do is I will again go to that last frame, selecting the last frame, and I want this to fade out. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to fade out both audio and the image. So I will again take the opacity, return, and then I'll move the timeline about there. And I'm going to hit the key again, take it to 0, return, and I can see where I have this slow fade out. And because it has sound, it's going to run all the way out. So what I want to do is I want to cut out that sound as well. So I bring my key back here to about that point. I'll collapse this and just take the audio bar. This is audio, bring that down. You can see the sound wave on. There's the sound wave. And I'm going to take that and leave it at 100. Return. And I'll move this out to the end of the frame. Hit the key again, and I'm going to take that to a minus 40 decibels there. And you can see how it will fade out. And then I've got my scene the way I want it. Okay? So you can see how that will effectively work in this piece. And I can see if it's buffered. Hit the return bar. I can do a sampling of the work. See the helicopter coming in. It's going to come to that first piece. Do a fade. And then coming through, you do a fade out. I'm happy with it, so now I'm going to export. Come here to export, export media encoder. Media encoder will automatically load up. It's part of the bundle that you received. And once media encoder comes up, we'll be good to go, and we'll edit the film. As soon as it pops up into the window, it says right here, there's my piece. There's a little green dot, a little green arrow. You click on that, and now it's down here connecting to the Dynamic Link server. It's gathering that footage, and it's going to start editing that, and then this will go across pretty quickly, depending on the length of your piece. But right now it's gathering, and when it's ready, it will pop in, and there it goes. And you can actually see it start to edit the footage. It's coming across the timeline fairly quickly, and we should have something here fairly shortly to highlight. Once that's done, we'll be able to show that here and click on it, and you'll see the file come up rather fast. Once it's all done, it completes. I can double click on this, and it will bring up a box that's on your desktop most likely, and there's my MP4 file. I'll take the MP4 file. I have it out here to work with, and I can rename that. Easy for me to say, oh, and there's my footage, and then I can play it. And there's the footage that I shot. You'll see the fade right here. There's the fade. Comes the other helicopter. And this goes pretty quickly. This is about 30 seconds of footage that I've edited. Here comes the other helicopter. We get to the end of that, and it should fade out. And that's how you do basic editing out of a piece of footage. I got 3 separate scenes out of that one piece. I hope this is helpful. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.